Okay. Last class we discussed about classic load balancer, and then before that we did talk about elastic load balancer, and afterwards classic load balancer, application load balancer. So classic load balancer, it does distribute the traffic equally irrespective of your volumes or any criteria. When it comes to application load balancer, we can still customize the traffic to route a particular request based on even based on the number of requests which are hitting it. Probably we can say, okay, 50% of the, if you have two or if you have four machines, I can equally divide, 100% of the traffic to 25, 25, 25, 25% to each server, or I can customize. If I really need to route the traffic 90% to one single machine, that is also possible, right? And we have seen that, uh, yes, I think you have followed it, right? Today we'll talk about another kind of load balancer, which is network load balancer. See, classic load balancer nowadays, most of us we are not using it because it's I think it's almost deprecated one. So soon them to release from the AWS services. So application load balancers, as I mentioned, so whenever we have a requirement to deal with HTTP and HTTPS, then we are good to use application load balancer. Correct? Now, what if, and for example, we can't expect the traffic or we can't build our applications to only run on HTTP or HTTPS, right? Apart from that, we do have multiple ports or port numbers. There are multiple ways where customers or devices can send the traffic to our application. If that is the case, it is always preferable to use a network load balancer. So, as I mentioned, so network load balancer routing the traffic to the target based on the port number, and it has a capacity to serve a millions of requests per second compared to application load balancer. All right. So, if your application is sending a logs, your application is sending a logs via port 80, sorry, what is that? Yeah, 80, which is it is HTTP. Or if your application is sending data via HTTPS, then it is blindly you can go and select a application load balancer. This is what being AWS solution architect, you should be in a position to suggest the customer which load balancer to be used based on the request. And let's say some of the applications are sending the data over the port 8909 or 8080 or 413. Anyway, whatever, or 514. If this is your current infrastructure, then obviously you are supposed to go ahead and use a network load balancer because whatever the requests which are coming, it is not of HTTP or HTTPS. It is using some other protocols which will be learned. All right. So this is about usage of network load balancer, and we will see how exactly we can create and use it. Now, as I mentioned, this network load balancer route the traffic based on the port number. In our previous example, we have created a we have created two servers, and both the servers are installed with Apache Tomcat. On top of it, we did edit the content of the HTML page, and we are able to see our implementation. Correct? Both the servers were configured with the port number called 80, which means we were using a protocol called HTTP. Correct? Now, in network load balancer, as I mentioned, it routes the traffic based on the ports. If your application is sending a log via port 8080, it is not a standard. Just for an example, I've taken it, and if you want, you can change it to 8191, whatever the port you need. Right? So network load balancer does support the applications which are running on different port numbers. This is the beauty of network load balancer. In application load balancer, we had a restriction to use 80 and 443, which means HTTP and HTTPS. But one benefit was we can customize the request. So based on these requests, we can route the traffic. Correct. So that's how we did it, right? So we created two instances, and afterwards we created a Google image folder, and on the another machine we created a custom image folder, and we try to hit route the traffic based on the request which we gathered, right? But here the network load balancer is completely, I mean, even depends on the port numbers from where the logs or the data is being fed. So accordingly, we will be able to create a network load balancer, and we can use them along with the instances which we have created. Please note, these network load balancers are used based on the ports which your applications are running or which your applications are using. Now, let's quickly draw one requirement and we'll try to implement it. Okay. So as we know, instead of four, let us create two EC2 instances. So I'm just putting my requirement. This is how it should be. Let's say this is my EC2 instance 1 and this is my EC2 instance 2. And I'll call this as server 1, and which is using a protocol HTTP. HTTP refers to port number 80. And here we'll install some, let's say, Amazon website. Let us create another instance called web server 2, and let's say which is running a protocol TCP. We'll see what is TCP and all little later. HTTP, HTTPS belongs to application load balancer. Other than these two, other than HTTP and HTTPS, we can call them as TCP or UDP. We have different protocols. We'll see them later. So now I want to route the traffic via I can say 8090 or 8080, whatever you like. So in the documentation I've mentioned 8080, but you can go ahead and select whatever the ports which are not reserved, in a sense. HTTP is designed with 80, HTTPS is designed with 443. Apart from that, if you come across any of the ports which are already in use, you can ignore them, and but you can consider the remaining port numbers which are available. For now, I'm just considering 80804. Instead of Signal, we were routing the traffic via port number 80. Our applications are sending the data via port 80 with the protocol HTTP. Now, my application has implemented and which will be ready to send the logs with the protocol TCP with the port number 8080. Probably here I'll just mention Google website, which means if some user logs in, if some user hits my DNS with the port 80, I should be able to route the traffic to this machine. If any user hits the request with the port 8080, then you should be able to hit Google website. Okay. Now, what I'll do, I have two instances. Each instances are designed to a particular requirement. The first web server refers to Amazon, and second web server refers to Google. Now, I should create a load balancer, and before the load balancer, again, we should create a target group. Application load balancer and network load balancer creation and all remains same, except few steps we will learn. So target group 1 I'll create and target group 2 I'll create. So and what I'll do, once I create a target group, I'll associate this machine with this target group 1, and again I'll associate web server 2 with the target group 2 with the port 8080, and I will attach these target groups to my EC2, sorry, my load balancer. This will be my application. Sorry, this will be my network load balancer. Okay. Now we will get one DNS name for this. So users across the world, they'll be able to access this particular website and they'll be able to hit the necessary websites based on if the user is hitting a request, for example, let's say some DNS name will get if user enters a request with this format, then we should be able to hit this one. If user hits a DNS or URL, for example, URL with 800, then the request will directly get into web server because we explicitly we are routing a traffic to this server with the help of the port 8080. Okay, so this is what we are going to implement, and also let's quickly write it down. What are we going to do? Okay, can anyone help here? Pratishtha or Vivek, whoever?
I can tell.
Yes, Pratishtha, please go ahead.
Okay, so first create two instance. Yes, to
Hmm?
create two instance and install the server as well.
Install,
Okay.
purchase,
Uh, yeah. Then create to make it as a website.
and please
Then
implement different websites like this
instances. Yes.
so that it's easier for us to recognize. Okay,
Then
next, so
create
this part is done. Okay,
done. Then create two target group. Yeah. TG1 and TG2. Yeah. TG1 associate TG1 with instance 1 and TG2 with instance 2.
RLC web server.
Mm. And web server 2.
Okay,
And the last step is associate TG1 and TG2 with network. Create network load balancer and create a network load balancer. Associate TG1, TG2 with that.
NLB. We'll call this
NLB.
as NLB. NLB refers to network load balancer. ALB refers to application load balancer.
Application load balancer.
And one more thing, please take care of port 8080. Correct?
80, right.
By
TCP.
default, we used to work on port number 80. Now we have another port called 8080 that also we
Yeah.
need to take care. Okay. Any questions here? Anyone? Is diagram is understandable or whatever we discussed? Is that okay? Please, can anyone unmute yourself and give a response?
Yeah, no.
They're good, right? Okay, thank you. All right. We'll just implement this. So, as suggested, we'll create two instances. But for now, let us create first instance and we'll just name that as web server 1. It is not mandatory to be web server 1 always. We can say Google server or Amazon server or your project specific no, name. You can always keep. I'm just selecting Amazon Linux. I'm just going with the default one. I think we have already familiar with these steps. And I'm in North Virginia. Let me select key underscore NV, which I've created earlier. And let me try to create a new secondary group. So group, which is taking care of port number 22, 22, which is fine. And let me uh, try to give some more subscript so that which may say my text. So I'll just say as on website. Let me put this script so that I don't have to install any other software while launching this after launching this. So these things I think almost done. Now let me click on view all instance. So still it is pending. Meantime, let me create another one. So we just created this one and we are creating the second server. I'm just naming as web server 2. And again, I'm selecting Amazon Linux as my CMI, and I'm just going with the default one. And let me select the key pair, which I've already created earlier. Let me create a new one. It's fine. All right. Let me click on advanced details. Here, so instead here I'll give Google website.
And I think we missed that port 80.
We need it. We will add.
Okay.
So which is running. So as Praveen mentioned, if I just go ahead and click this one, I'll not be able to see any of the file, any of the page because this particular application has implemented and it is running over the port 80. But we have not allowed that particular port. So what I'll do, I'll just click on this security group which I've created. Here I have only opted for port number 22, which is SSH. Now, in order to add another one, let me click on edit inbound view and let me click on add route. So here I should select HTTP, correct? So HTTP is the port and which transfers the data for the port 80, and I'm allowing everyone whoever in the world they'll be able to access this particular instance. Now after saying this, if I just see this is the beauty, right? I'll be able to get into Amazon website. Now similarly, let me click on the instance and let me select the second server. Let's see if it is running. Yeah. And here also same. If I just access this particular IP address, then definitely I don't see any pages because I have not configured port. What anyhow I have installed Apache Tomcat on it, but I've not enabled the port. So let me click on uh, the security group details. So let me do that. Let me add another group. The HTTP. I'm allowing everyone. Now, after this, if I just refresh, I'll be able to see the Google website. See, please understand. The first server is talking about Amazon. The second server is talking about Google. Now, what was our agenda here? This particular server has to transfer the data, or this server should be reachable via port 8080, not via 80. Correct? I mean, not via this port. For now, we have enabled 80 port as well, but now we should route the traffic or we should make the server familiar with the port 8080 for upcoming transferring the request and response. Do you see my point? In order to do that, we have some configurations. So in order to do that, let us get into the server. So let me SSH the thing. So I mean, let me log into the console of EC2 instance of this one. Let me copy the public IP of this and let me get into the server. So we use putty tool. I just copied the public IP and selecting auth. This is the key which I'm referring now. Accept the cert. What is the username? It is EC2 user. And also log in with root user, which is sudo. Clear. Now under etc, see once again I'm saying, so by default, if you just give if you don't give slash and if you don't type this one, this is the valid format. Instead of typing slash, you just type ECC or whatever, it not come. Why? We will see them later, in the later course. Now let me log in, let me get into this folder. Let us see what is there. So I'm just doing ls. We have http. Yeah, see here we have httpd. Here we have conf, and under the conf we have httpd conf. So these are all standard setup by the Linux operating system. So we are supposed to get let me clear this. We are supposed to have the Apache related configuration or HTTP related configuration under this files only across your EC2 instances, irrespective of your Linux flavor. So why we have this? Because this is the implementation. We are supposed to have this kind of information under this folder only. Now, if you just look at here, we have a conf file. This is a conf file which deals about the port, right? Let's see that. http.conf, and I'm pressing I so that I can insert. See here, the server root is, see, this is the server root. If you want, you can customize also. So here under this only we were we were able to see the configuration of HTTPD, right? Under etc HTTPD again, uh, we found one folder called conf. Under that we found a configuration called httpd.conf. So this is how they configure. And here I'm saying, instead of it is by default it is listening port number 80, right? Instead of that, if I just give 8080 or whatever the port number you would like to keep, please someone edit here. Okay. If you're not see, I'm not saving it. I'm just coming again. See, this is the folder. No, /etc conf, under which we have a configuration called httpd.conf, and later we are trying to edit. How to edit it? So I'm just using vi editor and vi space httpd.conf, and I'm pressing I to insert. And so see here, currently it is listening the port called 80. Now as per my diagram, I'm supposed to make it to 8080. It's up to you, whichever the port you need, which are not reserved. So always you can go ahead and use it. For now, I'm just making it as 8080. I'm pressing escape colon right quit. Okay, just to verify, let us do a cat. Cat is a command which will help us to display the content. So it is listening to 8080. Now, why this website should not work now? Why it is still working? Because it needs a restart. Why do we need a restart? See, we modified a service called HTTPD, right? So once we modify the content or the configuration of any service, it is our duty to restart the service. So which service is that? HTTP restart. Please understand. I did some changes on the configuration in order to get reflect on your machine, you're supposed to restart your service. See, I'm restarting the HTTPD service. I'm not restarting the server. I'm restarting the service. So once that is done, this should not be able to see this page. Yeah, it is. I should not be able to see this page with the port. By default, it is considering the port as 80. It is not allowing because we modified a port details on your server. Now, my thing is, whenever I give 8080, then I should be able to see the page, but still I'm not able to because I have not enabled this port to listen to this machine, right? So what should I do here? I've selected web server 2. Let me click on security. Let me come here and click on edit inbound rule. Click on add rule. See, this is a custom TCP. You must select. We have a UDP protocol. We have many other protocols. So which comes under TCP now? 8080. If you want, you can always go ahead and change the port number. And now I'm enabling all. So anyone in the world, they'll be able to access it. After saving this one, then I should be able to. Please understand this one, right? I think Pravina, somebody asked, right? See, this website is running with the port 80, but this website is running with 8080 port. So these are the two different applications are running on different ports. Clear? Okay. Now this part is done. So this part is done. Now the third step, okay, this third one is also done. The fourth step is we should create a two different target groups and we should associate the target group with the respective server with the port details. Right. We'll do that. So where do we see the target groups? Under EC2 dashboard, under load balancing, we see target groups. Click on the target group and click on the create target group, and we are dealing with instance. Please go and select the instance and please give your target group. So every time I'm just giving TG1, it is not necessary. You can give any name, but it should be meaningful. Okay. So I'll just say, can I say first one will be Amazon TG? Yeah, Amazon TG. I'll just give. And please note here, till now, even in application load balancer, the protocol we were using TCP, sorry, HTTP, correct? Now, I'm supposed to select a protocol as TCP. And the first server, this is the TCP. This is the protocol, and this is the port number which you are using, correct? So this particular request will be served with the protocol TCP for the port 80. This is done. So the main step here is to select the TCP protocol, and health check also we have selected by default. It has selected TCP upon selection of protocol TCP. Nothing. Yeah, just click on next and see here. So we are planning to associate web server 1, right, which is associated with the port 80. So let me select that one. And here the port by default it is selected, and clicking on insert, include as pending below. Later, create target. Now create another target group as I mentioned, so which will be a Google target group. Now again, I should select as a TCP protocol. Now I should select a port as 8080. This is how I'm customizing my target group, correct? So I should select. So here also we are communicating with TCP protocol, but with the port 8080. Now I should modify the port as 8080. Next, and I should associate a second web server to the target group. See, please look at here. By default, it has selected 8080. This is the web server to which I'm selecting, and click on include as below, create target. Right now, both the target groups are created and associated with a respective instances with the necessary port details. Now, this part also done. What is the next step? I should create a network load balancer and associate the target groups. Let us do that, right? So let me click on load balancer, and let me click on, I think we have selected something else. I don't have any load balancer. Click on load balancer. So our intention is to create a network load balancer. So this is what we are trying to look into. And see here in the differences here itself we can see it is only allowing HTTP and HTTPS, whereas here you can see other than HTTP and HTTPS we see TLS, UDP, TCP, these are the protocols we see we can use under network load balancer. So I'll just creating a network load balancer. I'll just say NLB 01. NLB refers to network load balancer and which is internet facing because I want everybody to access the DNS of this load balancer, and whichever the instances I'm creating are going forward in future, I may create the instances under any of these availability zones. So I don't have to come and revisit and rework on the load balancers part, right? So if my website's going like anything, then I should be able to create multiple instances across the different availability zones. So just to be safer side, it is good to select all the availability zones where I can create the instance. Now coming to listener and routing. The first listener is nothing but it's where we can now define a rule to route the traffic. In application load balancers also we had defined some listener. So similarly here also we are doing it. So what we are doing? So this is the TCP protocol, and this is the the port number which is enabled as 80, and my intention is to route the traffic whenever user sends a request. Whenever user sends a request with the port number 80, I should be able to send the traffic to this machine. So what exactly this machine hosted? This has a Amazon website. So that as we know that Amazon target group will have the necessary instances, right? So this target group will have the Amazon website, right? Now this is done. Now we keep it as it is and create a load balancer. While creating, it is good practice to select only one target group while creation of a NLB or LB, and data we can assign, right? Let it come to provision state, and now we'll see this. Please understand, with our application load balancer, we had an option edit or modify or edit or add rules, which means whatever the rules we have added, we were able to edit it. Here, we are not in a position to edit. Instead, we are allowed to create a new listener. Here, each listener will define a rule. The first listener is creating a rule, a request which is coming to our NLB with the port 80. Then I'm just forwarding the request to this target. Correct. Whereas uh, if some requests are coming in with other ports also, then it's my responsibility to be taken care. So in order to do that, I should create another role, another listener. Here I should mention the port number. So which port number we are referring to? Port number 8080. Correct. So yeah, 8080. I'm just clicking here, and now I should select the different target group, which is my intention is to route the traffic to Google target groups, the associated machines and the Google target group with the port 8080. Then I'm just adding it. Now we will example. Meantime, check for now this DNS is in active state. It comes to active state. Here I've defined two listener rooms. It's still in process. And then this is the DNS name which I've got. So yeah, it is an active state. Now let me ping this. Let me put it in a browser. By default, see, please understand. By default, I'm not given any port number. By default, it does consider uh, port called 80. I should be able to get one Amazon page, and after hitting this DNS with the port 8080, I should be able to get into Google. So I think I have some browser issue. Just pinging you right away. I request all of you to verify if you are able to see the first page. First page refers to Amazon page. First page refers to this page, Amazon website. Do you see that? Can anyone confirm? Yes. No.
It's loading for me as well, Naveen.
It worked, Naveen.
Loading? Or you got some page?
It is showing Amazon website.
Super, super, good. Now, can you try code? You should be able to. Vivek,
Google website is coming.
it comes. Okay, can you share me your screen for a minute just to see?
Yeah, sure.
Sometimes it depends on the browser. Are you sharing, Kavita?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, under 80, can you also share by removing colon 80,
Yeah, sure.
80?
Sure, sure.
So other consensus. Okay. Super. So, okay. By default, it is hitting Amazon Web Service. Amazon website. Uh, and after upon giving port detail 800, it is hitting Google Maps. Cool. This is what we have achieved. Guys, this is how your real-time no, scenarios. This is how you need to come up with a solution, and you should implement like this. But please remember, going forward, we will not, I mean, typically, a big organization or mid-sized organization, we don't create these infrastructures manually. Instead, we use something called as infrastructure as code. So, which means we use something called as cloud formation. So everything we'll be writing in terms of code, which is very easy. So we'll just make use of Google document, I mean Amazon websites, Amazon documents, and we'll just create the infrastructure with some minimum knowledge of coding. Coding is not it is not a Java or some other language. It is very simple. A layman can understand. So leave it. But this is how your typical organization looks for your expertise. You should be in a position to define your core details. You should analyze what are the uh, which application using different ports, and how to create your target groups, and how to associate with your network load balancer. These kind of things. Okay. Any questions here? So before getting into the next topic.
Naveen, I have one question. On the web server 2, in the second time you add the security group as TCP, like 8080, you give the port number as but previously you put it HTTP and HTTP is 80. So the question is, when you actually created the server and install the web server means
Okay.
HTTP as well. So is it mandatory on that time that in the config we should always change the port number in that http.config file to access a different port through the browser?
Correct. It is mandatory steps to change your port details under http.conf. If it is a HTTPD service. If it is some other service, then I mean by default it should be listening. Else you need to make it work. See, just to keep it simple, most of us we are familiar since the first class we were talking about web server and all right. So that's the reason I'm making use of this web server, because we
Yeah.
are not a developer. That is not worried
Mm.
about the content and everything. So that's the reason even I'm keeping very much simple as Amazon website or Google website, something like that. Yeah, now it is working for me. Right? It is our duty to customize your applications listening, right? So yes, we should be taken care. It's our duty.
Okay. Okay. And through the TCP protocol, with any port, I can access it through the web browser.
Exactly. It's not only to the browser where your application is communicating, where end users are communicating to your application server with the help of the load balance. Correct?
Yeah.
Any other question?
Navin, can we have a real-time scenario like when exactly we need to use different ports and need to change HTTP and TCP protocols?
Most of your websites, most of your websites, which are most of your websites, so they are using 80 and 443. Apart from your official website, for example, you might be having some routers or switches, right? Or some your system servers, whichever. Right? Definitely, you will see this kind of servers or this kind of naming conventions in your organization. Apart from the websites, like Amazon, Google, whatever the websites you see, so all are running with the help of port 80443. Apart
Okay.
from these websites, whenever we say website, which are the requests and responses are communicating over the port 80 or 443. 80 is referred to HTTP, 443 refers to secured HTTP, HTTPS protocol. If that is
Yeah.
the case, we go ahead and use this thing. And other than these websites, other than please understand, other than websites. some of the cases you are not making use of browser. Instead, you may use some REST endpoints and all. So it is not mandatory to have these ports needs to be communicated. So definitely we'll be using something called 514. So it all depends on see where your applications are hosted or where your in which ports your applications are listening to. See, for example, if I develop a application and you see everyone are making use of API. I want to be unique. I want to create another port number and I want to send the data via this port. However, I did it for web server too. If there is a case, I should say that okay, this particular server is listening protocol T over the port 8080. But we should an application team should communicate. So let's say if you have some application servers and there will be some application team in your organization, so you should get these information from their side. So what are all the protocols they are using to send the data from their application?
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Not we'll
Naveen,
move on. Yes, Pradesh.
I'm sorry. So, I, ideally, a target group can ideally a target group also have multiple ports configured. I
However,
mean, ports configured as well to talk. Like, let's say if I have two different uh,
you're saying okay. We have a target group one, which has two servers. One is listening to port number 80, the other one is listening to port number 8080. Correct?
right, right. I
What are
think
the sure, but let us go. That's a good question. Good. So I think so. This port numbers refer to listener, right? I think it is not possible. I guess. I think it is not possible because uh, we can have multiple instances are attached to this particular Amazon group, Amazon target group. For example, let's say we have two. Both the instances should be listening to port number 8013. Yeah, it is not possible. So each target group should listen to one port. If that is the case, we should create a another target group and we should attach the respective instances.
okay.
This is my point, Vivek. See here we saw if at all if we are creating another listener rule, so we after creation that we should select a respective target group. Correct. So each so the target groups are will have the necessary EC2 instances which are no which suffice the similar requirement. So if another server is also behaving like a Amazon website, then we'll group them under Amazon target group and we'll ask them to listen over the port 80.
Okay, okay, okay. So the scaling would ideally happen on the target group level.
Target
Rather,
group. That's
okay, okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you.
any other questions. I have something to go. Okay, I'll be just sharing this document as well, and I think I have already shared these network load balancers also. Please refer that. We'll have to cover some templates. But for now, it will be too much. I think I request all of you to practice this. So tomorrow we'll talk about launch template and also we'll try to complete auto scaling as well. Right? So by auto scaling and with the auto scaling, we'll be learning so much of things. So we'll be learning, few more services like CloudWatch and SNS. We'll see how to use them and all. But yeah, let us stop at this point of time and let's stop the recording as well.